I will be discussing a Knives Out discovery scene and the editing found. Within this scene, there was video editing that fit the tropes of the genres associated with this film, which is mystery and crime thriller, well, such as the camera pushing into our subject, which builds up the suspense and dread that is found in genres associated with this film. However, there are also tropes that do not feature as heavily in genres like this that have been used, such as the low angle, which is typically used to convey someone as strong, tough and threatening. While it is not entirely uncommon for it to exist in a film like this, they are not used as much as the item listed previously. And lastly, the audio contained tropes much more closely related with this genre, like dramatic music to build up tension and silence to heighten an audience's awareness.
Ransom's confession scene, Knives Out 2019. In the confession scene, the camera begins to zoom in and is being pulled away from Ransom when he goes to stab Martha. This is made for the dramatic purpose to build up the tension in the scene, as Ransom seems to act more with anger and he's ready to kill. Usually, zooms are used in the supernatural films, or basically when there is a shot to represent the feeling of falling away from yourself. But in this scene, it seems to be more looked towards anger, while he is trying to place his own feelings at Martha for getting caught for the murder. Angles. When we think about the angle, we think about the angle of the camera having to look up at Ransom and camera looking down at Martha, showing the power play at hand of the characters. Seeing as Ransom thinks he has an upper hand, so the camera looks at him as he is this man with power. Meanwhile, it's quite the opposite for Martha. This is genuinely used as a power technique in nearly every single film that you can see, where there is a play of somebody who has a higher stance and somebody who has a lower one. Now when we turn to audio, we realize that there isn't any background music in the confession. All the audio is centered about the voices and the echo of them to show the power of how the confession is being said and how we perceive the voices rather than the environment.
In the Transformers 2007 film, I will be focusing on the action shots in the opening Quatar attack. The first battle action scene in the 2007 sci-fi Transformers movie involves a lot of action. The camera shaking emphasizes the intensity of the action, including the use of explosives. These shots involve brief panning shots to magnify the sites of destruction. As action scenes commonly use a number of jump cuts and cutbacks and forth to reveal story aspects at one time. This can be multiple. In these moments, that human aspect is very important because we all see the potential deaths and damage within these action scenes. The edit makes it possible to view one occurring story with many different aspects occurring at the same time. The audience may readily feel as it does one continuous event with various plots at the same time, cutting back and forth attention between three aspects of the scene: the major attack and the devastation of the military HQ and the rushing away of soldiers. These are all related with sound, shots, and lighting to connect these edits all together.
During the final action sequence in Michael Bay's Transformers, a lot of the scenes take place in an urban area with the military and the Transformers occupying that space. Michael Bay uses a lot of shaky camera to convey the chaos that is happening around the public. This is amongst all the sweeping shots and cuts used during this sequence. The The few moments that the camera does stay still is usually when two characters are stopped amongst the action to have a heart-to-heart moment. These are also the only times where the music picks up, but quiets back down when it's back to the action, as the director clearly wants us to focus on what is happening on screen rather than the soundtrack. Bay also used moments of the camera tilting upside down during moments when the Transformers would transform from their disguised forms. Whilst it's unclear if it's intentional or not, I find this as a way to show that the character's worldview has been turned upside down by these behemoth characters.